was pretty excited when I learned that there's a Steven Seagal film where he fights aliens. And when I learned that it was a post-90s Seagal film where he's kind of given up on being physical and that he wrote the script himself, I got even more excited.
This film is a complete embarrassment to all involved in its production, and a disgrace to all who viewed it. I turned it off in about 20 minutes. 1 out of 10.
That's a special alien knife there, I think. They show up a lot in the movie. I never really figured out why, because that whole alien plot point was removed in post-production. Instead of aliens, they made them drug users, and it doesn't work.
They called back a few of the low-paid actors for reshoots, redubbed the majority of Seagal's dialogue via ADR. Seagal and Halpin were not involved.
Anyway, Steven Seagal stabs this drug user in the head, because he fucking hates drugs, and he's gonna give everyone the help they need. As this opening action scene ends, Seagal retrieves a device that doesn't look alien, and that's never mentioned again. Then his colleague informs him they're going to Paris.
800 hours to Paris.
And Seagal reacts with dull surprise.
Oh.
So Seagal and the rest of the team trust the audience enough to have heard of Paris, and then we see an airplane and the Eiffel Tower to really hammer home they've gone to Paris. And then in the bottom left corner it says, France, Europe. So what are they trying to say? If you don't know, it's more confusing. Are they in France or are they in Paris? But luckily now we all know what continent France is in, which doesn't factor into the film at all.
Okay, children, let's go.
Seagal often refers to the other grown-up characters as children or young men, which could be a charming self-deprecating acknowledgement of how he's aging out of the action genre, but instead it comes across as an attempt to redefine when a man is in his physical prime. Not when he's in his 20s or 30s and moving comfortably, but when he's in his 50s. And sadly, Seagal, who moves with distracting caution throughout the film, doesn't do enough for me to switch up my ageist thoughts.
There is barely any action in it at all, and in order to make an action movie good, you usually need action in it.
So, Marshall Lawson, what do you guys know about him?
Seagal has named himself Marshall Lawson. It's like martial law, but he's a guy, so Marshall Lawson. If this was a Dickens novel or something, we'd all find it very clever, but it isn't, so we don't.
The man walks with an air of confidence it's rarely seen in this day and age.
I like to picture Seagal writing that line. It's probably pretty similar to the description bit in a script before the actual dialogue. Enter Marshall Lawson. He walks with an air of confidence that is rarely seen in this day and age. And then the dialogue. Hey, there goes Marshall Lawson. The man walks with an air of confidence that is rarely seen in this day and age.
There's just two things you need to know about Marshall Lawson. One is he's a bad motherfucker. And two, he's a bad motherfucker.
I hear that.
That's the truth.
Banal writing.
Here's to what might could be a real good team.
Cheers to that.
Who is this international man of mystery? And why has he brought these dedicated young professionals to Paris, France, Europe?
Grab a beer at the bar. Let's just take it easy, okay?
Sir.
Cut to one of the not aliens killing someone with her not alien knife, and then we cut back, presumably to a few moments after being told to take it easy.
We were thinking of going to a titty bar.
Why don't you children go on?
Calling everyone children is well within normal limits for Seagal but missing out on a titty bar? What is going on?
His standards are pretty low.
Let's go.
Back at the original bar, Seagal and his mate appear to be having a really dull time. Seagal focuses in on a woman and wanders off to lay on the charm. Tomorrow's mission is already fucked. What are the odds that they're all into this, from my limited understanding of the world, pretty niche group sex? And why do they look as sinister as the woman who's about to pull out a not alien knife? Is Seagal attempting to tell us of the dangers of group sex? And again, why? For no reason other than this has to happen to advance the plot.
They're all dead. Come with me.
Seagal shows off his acting ability by changing his voice throughout the entire movie. Brilliant, simply brilliant.
What now? I don't know, man. I just needed some time to think.
There really isn't much of this film that's been left out here. It's the same shit over and over again. And if Seagal is going for an element of realism with the dull planning and the processing of his PTSD, then why the fuck is he battling drug-addicted aliens?
Lambert, this is still a U.S. military investigation.
Just trying to help.
Get the fuck out of here before I have your French ass kicked out.
I know we're meant to hate this guy largely because of his accent, which is fucking awful. They shot most of the film in Romania, which I guess made it harder to find French actors. I looked this guy up, and indeed he's a Romanian actor called Emmanuel Parvu. But when you're an American team that feels the need to tell your audience that France is in Europe, who the fuck cares about accent specificity?
The autopsy showed up a big amount of substance.
They use a Romanian army Egypt and so many Romanian actors that it could pass as a Romanian movie with only a couple of foreign actors in it.
He's still in the coffee shop thinking.
I need access to an armory.
I'll see what I can do.
You know the weapons I like.
He comes across as so bored throughout the film. It's like he's apologizing with his body language throughout and acknowledging to us that he knows that this is dull. But he wrote the film. This must be one of the scenes they added after initial shooting was over because it introduces this drug CTX, which they attempt to explain gives people superhuman strength and a load of other bullshit.
Oh, you're going to regret that, soldier boy.
The detective says he won't just cause, and then he leaves, but first he leaves a policeman we've never seen before and who doesn't have any lines in charge of the superpowered Brit.
Watch him.
Also, I know this guy is being watched closely, but from the time the detective knocks on the door to the guy opening the door, less than a second passes, and naturally the guy opens the door staring right at it. So I guess that means that that guy has been standing there for hours with his face right next to a closed door. He decides to sit on the table next to the unconscious guy pumped full of experimental drugs and attempt to smoke a cigarette, which leads into one of the most overused lines in the action genre.
Need a light?
Who could have seen this coming? Seagal's upset here because this guy has been following him for naval intelligence. Not sure why, but they're bad and don't factor into the film ever again.
You lied to me.
And that's the whole scene, and it develops nothing. It does eat up another minute or two of runtime though, and helps get this 10-minute story up to feature length.
Why are many Seagal movies so erratic and confusing? Because you are watching them wrong.
So now she can teleport and make her eyes dilate sideways because of an experimental drug. Apparently this film had a budget of $12 million. Finally, a proper fight scene with Seagal and this comparatively small woman. Aikido time! So she bends over to receive Seagal's imbalanced kick to the sternum, which is nice of her. Then Seagal's lady friend gets in on the action. She appears to have no fight training whatsoever and doesn't even attempt to express anything on her face when she's being hurled through a wall. She just sort of goes with it. I guess the actress had a lot on her mind and acting was at the very bottom of the list at this point. It's understandable.
Seagal's female partner got shot straight through 3 walls. The only harm she suffered was a little dust on her blouse.
Another very low kick. I don't want to say I could beat Seagal up, because I definitely couldn't, but I think I could kick that high and in an equally unimpressive way, and I think I could do this slappy thing with my hands too. Also, if you look closely at the woman fighting here, you can see it's not the same person, so this is what it looks like when they bring an expert in. The nice lady now sits down for Mr. Seagal, so she can be kicked in the face. And these stairs, they were never safe. It's a good thing it's a faceless dummy underneath. We see a bit more of Seagal's range now. Not only can he beat the shit out of a woman addicted to drugs, he can also pun.
These nanographite blades were built for a man with your kind of fighting skills.
They'll come in handy.
But it goes down like a lead balloon.
We're fucked, don't we? I don't think so.
This thing doesn't even make sense. It's a bunch of things stuck together that try to form a cohesive thing, but it fails so badly. Why?
So in the original scene, these two would have been sinister murdering aliens.
Go fuck yourself.
Now they're just drug addicts enjoying a quiet romantic meal.
They're on CTX.
What a strong man. It's enough to get you elected in some countries. It really looks like a bloody vagina to me. Seagal's girl and his buddy discover a CTX lab. It's all just left there exposed in extra-large Petri dishes. They throw a grenade into the room and it lands peacefully on a computer desk.
The movie is boring.
And then the not-alien Brit kills Seagal's girl, and again we see the big man's range.
Dwayne, lead the B team. Let's move.
On to the next one. So this guy we just saw leap down and kill Seagal's love interest is now atop a column that must be about 30 feet in the air. There's no way to get up there, and he sort of floats down, all because of CTX. Maybe we all should be taking it. He's got a special knife thing too, because he's in the CTX gang. Once you become addicted to drugs, the next thing you do is design your own knife. But he's no match for Seagal, who quickly stabs him in the head. Twice. CTX addled or not, that'd be enough to take down anyone. Not an alien though.
This movie is dumber than a box of hair.
Here's the true boss, who's barely featured in the film up to this point. That guy Seagal just killed did most of the legwork, which means we don't really care about this fight at all. She's got skills, and that's the last we'll see of them, because we then cut to Seagal slapping the hands of a stunt woman away. Seagal is concentrating hard and pulls a pretty unflattering face. He then tucks his lips into his mouth like he's completing a button bashing level on a video game. I don't think this would be a good idea in a real fight. I think your teeth would go through your lips when you're punched. Seagal throws the woman through another terribly constructed wall. Here it's like they don't even have enough bricks for the hole. I think if this was real and they were reaching for each other's hands like this, it wouldn't be a serious conflict. It'd be like your friend's taken your car keys and you're trying to get it back with one hand, and in the other hand you have your friend's phone and they're trying to get it back with their other hand. But here it makes no sense. What on earth are they trying to accomplish?
When I got to the end, I was just scratching my head cause the movie was so pointless and the ending didn't even make sense.
Seagal dodges an incredibly slow poke to the face. The woman just leaves her hand poking the wood next to Seagal. I guess the CTX is wearing off at this point. So Seagal follows up by stabbing her in the head. The last thing that flashes through her mind before she dies, naturally, is more Seagal. I don't know why, but still naturally. Seagal carries one of his friends off as we see a close-up of an angel statue, suggesting to us that Seagal is some kind of angel, or that all the people lost are now angels, or something to do with angels, and then it ends.